Hello there. I hope I will not upset you too much. Part 3 deals with the defunct judiciary, at least where corporations are involved. A judiciary that tolerates ex parte contacts and allows godfellows, i.e. senators and congressmen, to intimidate judges to obstruct justice. Congressmen and senators that sell judgments eBay style. They do so with the full knowledge of the DOJ, the FBI, and even the Supreme Court, and I do not say this lightly. For our own protection, we have placed the evidence on an offshore deadman switch server that releases it internationally if our internet access pattern changes. The evidence involves 59 senators and congressmen of both sides of the aisle, each at a minimum involved in 10 obstruction of justice cases over a period of 10 years. A few weeks ago, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton lectured Kenya on corruption. She objected to Kenyan government officials taking money for favors. Madam Secretary, before you lecture other countries on corruption, how about cleaning house first? Just one word, genuine. I think you know what I'm referring to. In Matrix 3, I will present evidence that, with the possible exception of small claims court, the judicial system, state or federal, is firmly in the hands of senators and congressmen. In other words, there is no separation of powers. So, if you are still with me, I am going to give you the tools so that you yourself can analyze what chances you have to prevail in a lawsuit against a corporation, and which senators to watch. We are talking about forensics, forensic math to be precise, but please do not panic. Bear with me for a second. Let me introduce you to Bayes' theorem, a mathematical formula that looks intimidating, but really cannot be simpler. What it means is, if a set of events has the same outcome as a previous identical set, the probability increases that future sets of events will conform. Another forensic tool is what is called matrix math, which describes in simple terms a pattern of events, but I'm not going to go there. Now, in order to be able to present the interdependence of events to somebody who lacks the intellectual flexibility to understand that every cause has a consequence, we need graphics. To mind comes the classic Venn diagram. Unfortunately, it is only of use that there are few interrelated events. Like money paid to a senator, the senator's call to a judge, followed, for example, by the judge recusing himself, but not his law clerk. That may be okay if you talk about a simple event set. However, if your problem consists of a multitude of events, we need a better tool. Think in terms of something like 15 payments over a period of 8 months litigation time. Here's what we designed and use. For all practical purposes, it is a modified Venn diagram. Here is a header which describes the actors as well as the judges according to their political affiliation. Next, we add a timeline. We include the litigation time period and record payments to the proper recipient in the timeline as dots. And instantly a pattern becomes visible. Sorry. Now, these are real-life examples. I think you realize that there is a clear matrix that is predominantly controlled by the party nomination of the judge and, to a degree, by the party affiliation of the senator or congressman. Let's look at some more real-life examples. James Sensenbrenner comes to mind. On June 1, 2006, he called Judge Schlesinger of the Middle District of Florida, who presided over a case against Sprint's board of directors. On the same day, Judge Schlesinger recused himself, but not his law clerk. Sprint paid for the call handsomely. Of course, this was not the first time. Sensenbrenner does so routinely, then blames his staff, as here in the Seventh Circuit case, even though his letter was signed by him. Chief Judge Flaum of the Seventh Circuit, by the way, was the only judge we found in 14 years who actually put the ex parte letter on the docket. Let's take another case before the Southern District of New York, the case against a New York crime family who bought a German company but never paid for it. In 1996, Harold Ickes was in charge of raising money for Bill Clinton's re-election. Look at the payments the buyer made to the DNC. First, when the randomly assigned judge recused himself, 1 week later, the DNC received 2 checks totaling $100,000. The Clinton-appointed judge issued a no discovery order. 2 weeks later, $122,000 are in the mail to the DNC. The judge dismisses the case. 8 days later, $300,000 goes to the DNC. Now, do you get the pattern? There are 2 foul play indicators. First, she overrules CBS versus Ziff, which held that a party to a contract can rely on the promise of the other. Next, she orders her opinion not to be published. I wonder why. Let's take the case against Sprint's board of directors, filed on the basis of In re Abbott Labs security litigation on behalf of shareholders. The case is transferred into the Middle District of Florida. No sooner has the case been transferred when a pattern of payments to Florida Senator Bill Nelson commences. Sprint pays over $15,000 to Bill Nelson, who accepts the cash. Then there is the case of United States versus Oracle. It involves the hostile takeover of PeopleSoft, brought in California in Barbara Boxer's jurisdiction. Smack in the middle of the litigation, Oracle, which has for many years not paid 1 single penny to Boxer, suddenly pays $10,000, roughly 10 times their normal contribution amount. Look at the event pattern. Despite the testimony of experts claiming that competition will suffer by the merger, the judge rules that he has not been convinced. Finally, let's look at the Mercedes versus Chevron case, brought in the jurisdiction of Alabama Senator Jeff Sessions, the seat of Mercedes-Benz in USA. Mercedes obtained the promise of Chevron subsidiary Cobazis to deliver a certain type of batteries. It invested millions in developing a new car, but when the time came to start production, Chevron instructed Cobazis not to deliver the batteries. On August 4, 2008, a call was made from Jeff Sessions' office to Magistrate Judge Davis, who recused himself on the same day. Turns out Chevron paid $5,000 in 2 installments before and after their recusal. Don't for 1 second think that the FBI wants to get involved. My attorney and I filed criminal complaints against some of the actors. All we got was a statement from an FBI agent who said, "This is a delicate matter." I bet. I even advised White House counsel Greg Craig, no action. Why? Because these bribery schemes are truly bipartisan and provide the lifeblood for the next campaign. Sorry if I ticked you off. Oh, one last thing. You can get information on payments to elected officials by going to fec.gov. And information on past or pending court cases are available at pesa.gov. See you soon, hopefully with better news. Thanks.